What's good with it, y'all? It's your boy Santo G, back at it. You already know, spreading unity, prosperity, and respect. Above all, if you're new here, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell. It don't cost you nothing, and it will help out this channel. So today, I just wanted to continue with my stories, and I wanted to tell the story of me getting of me getting removed off of B yard, then landing in F yard. I already told the story about going to the shoe, so on and so forth. So pretty much, I land in B yard. I get kicked out the shoe for that attempt to manufacture an inmate weapon. Boom, they kick me out to B yard. I go to B yard. I land in building 3, which is, they have one section that is for pretty much the people that are coming and they haven't seen committee. It's C section. It's A, B, and C in building 3. And C section is for the people that are barely getting there. So as soon as I get there, boom, I go to C section. And as I'm in C section, waiting to get classified and everything, I end up meeting the homie Chongo from Northside Bowling. Shout out to the homie Chongo from Northside Bowling. And I also end up meeting the homie Scrappy from National City. So, from the Acres. So, boom. I meet those two solid homies. And I was actually gonna move with the homie Chongo. Once I seen committee and all that, the homie Chongo had already told me, like, hey, G, like, I like you get down. Showed him all my paperwork, what I was coming for, so on and so forth. And the homie had all day. He was a 3-striker that was trying to get out on that Prop 36 and Prop 47, the laws that had changed. And I wouldn't doubt if the homie's out to this day. If anybody knows the homie Chongo from Northside Bowling, man, send them this. That's the homie right there. I would love to see that fool. So, boom. I land there, chopping it up with the homie. He's like, hey, I'm gonna move you with me. So I'm like, all right, cool. I see committee. That same day that I come back, there's a Huda Hernandez. She ends up, hey, pack your stuff. Like, you're moving. I'm like, what's up? She like, pack your stuff. You're moving. I'm like, what? Where am I going? Then she's like, hey, Mendoza put in the move. Like, you're good, right? You're good. You could go over there. Like, what? Like, yeah, I'm good, don't trip. Next thing you know, I walk in C-section and the homie Scrappy's right there waiting for me. Like, hey, G, like, Kyle, he's already helping me move my stuff. We go, I end up landing in the bunk with him, and he was overseeing that building. So some stuff ended up happening with the homie Scrappy from National City where he got down. He ended up getting down with the homie that had the yard and ended up having to move on my bunkie. You know what I mean? He got down with that fool. They didn't get caught, so then that fool got mad and pretty much got rid of my bunkie. So my bunkie leaves and I'm right there by myself. So now I'm overseeing the building, and to be honest, I was just helping out. I wasn't in contact with nobody, anything like that. Like, I was just there making sure that everything was going good. Because at the time, B yard, we were sharing yards with the Norteños. So any issues, you know what I mean? I was just showing face for the homies and pretty much handling everything till somebody got there that I was able to be like, hey, here you go. So the homie ends up getting there. The homie Seco from Eastside Bowling ends up getting there. Boom, he gets there. So he sees committee and everything, and he ends up coming to the bunk right next to me. So me and him, I'm not even gonna lie, man, we was boys. Before everything that happened later on, we was boys. Like, we got into it, you know what I'm saying, and we got down, but it was on some just like man shit, you know what I'm saying, like some homie shit. So pretty much he was like my bunkie, because he didn't have a bunkie and I didn't have a bunkie, but our bunks were right next to each other. It was an open dorm, but it had little cubicles. So he was in the bunk next to me, and like I said, I'm the type of individual, if I go to store and I'm eating, you gonna eat. I didn't have no bunkie, so that was like my bunkie. Every time I make food, make him up some food, and vice versa. He would look out too, you know what I'm saying? So at that time, a whole lot of stuff was happening. Homeboy was running amok. I'm not gonna lie, at that time, I was dealing with a lot. Cause if you guys are up on game with my story, I told you guys when I came back from Oklahoma and I went to the Shafter CCF, I was engaged. I had a little relationship going on, you know what I'm saying? And then I ended up catching that new case and I went to ASU. Homegirl was there still writing it out. Then I ended up getting kicked out. She ended up going to try to visit me and they turned their back because the CCF visiting process is different than the California. It was different, so they didn't let her in. She went back crying. It was just a whole lot of stuff to the point where she ended up throwing the towel. So I'm right here stressed out calling. Like, I went from being away in Oklahoma, not getting visits, nothing like that, to getting visits, getting packages. I'm on the phone all day. And then next thing you know, homegirl just goes. So I ain't gonna lie, man, I started partying, you know what I mean? I started partying and we would party together type shit. But so that ends up, we go on like a couple of months little party, you know what I mean? And we were up for like 2 days. There's a boo-bop going on in the top. Some homies getting boo-bop, boo, 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 boo. At that time, I believe it was the homie that was going home. There's a boo-bop going up, boo, 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 boo. The Hudas run in, and the homie from East Side Bowling runs to the homie from North Side Bowling, which is the homie Seco, runs to the homie Chango and tries to hand them a piece like, hey, here, because the Hudas were coming in. And my boy's a 3-striker trying to go home. He's like, hey, hell nah, like that's gonna mess up everything if he goes to board, you know what I mean? So long story short, he ends up having to go somewhere else and he tucks it though, nothing happens. But he ends up using that against the homie from Northside to pretty much get rid of him. Like, hey, because like I said, out of all the people that were there, nobody really was plugged in or had connections or anything like that, you know what I mean? And I'm just being real. So they kind of like, anything homeboy said, he had that like power and that like bullying like people type, you know what I mean? So he ends up moving on the homie from the north side, and as he's moving on him, he ends up having the homies take his chain. So I'm right there by the phone. I'm sitting down by the phone. I'm right there. I ain't even gonna lie, I'm stressed out. I'm trying to get through, like, bam, answer, girl. Like, what the fuck? Answer. Like, she finally answers. I'm like, hey, what the fuck? Like, straight up. Like, how can we go from, hey, everything's good, you answering all day, we finna get married, and then now you just like straight dodging me, you know what I'm saying? Like, not even no explanation, nothing. So I'm right there just trying to get an explanation, like what the fuck's going on. They end up getting the homie, and I ain't even gonna lie, the homie Chango was rocking them food. Boom, boom, boom. Knocks one foot, boom. They end up pulling his chain. It falls, you know what I mean? I end up seeing who picks it up and everything, you know what I mean? I'm on the phone. It's happening right here, and then so they pick it up, whatever. Next day goes by. I ain't gonna lie, from the way homegirl was acting that day, that night, I ended up going in and I ended up doing some white, you know what I mean? I ended up staying up. I didn't sleep that night. So I'm up, geeking, like, fuck, like, watching TV and stuff, like, doing different stuff. And the homie, Mono, from Lennox, shout out the homie Mono from Lennox, you know what I mean? He comes up to me. He's all like, hey, my G, he's all like, this fool's over there saying some stuff about you, dog. Like, he's saying this, and that. I'm like, what? Like, nah, you tripping. He's all like, yeah, fool, like, hey, he's saying this, and that. Like, whoa. Like, oh, hell no. So he ends up giving me a fierro. Hey, if I'm lying, I'm dying. He goes, gives me the heads up, and he gives me a fierro. He's like, here, my boy. I get it. Boom, I'm just right there chilling, like looking like, what the fuck? And the way it's set up, if you're on A side, you could see what's going on C side. And there was a couple of new homies that had got there that also, you know what I mean, had some type of connections. So I just see him talking to them. I'm like, tripping out. Next thing you know, he comes upstairs and he's like, hey fool, hold this for me. I'm sitting down, I'm like this, watching TV, because TV's right here hanging on my bunk, and I'm looking across and I can see them. Next thing you know, he comes, he's like, hey, here, like, hold this. I'm like, what? Like, oh hell no, like, watch out fool, like, I don't want that. He's trying to tell me to hold the chain. So I'm like, what? Like, I don't want no parts in that. Like, I'm good, homie. So he leaves, right? He leaves. I get up. I ain't even gonna lie. I had 3 fierros on me at the time. I had 2 that I was holding that were the pads, and then I had the one that the homie Mono gave me. So I go over there to where they're at, just to like scope everything out, to feel it out. You know what I mean? So I go and I look at them. They're like, what's up, my boy? Like, whoa, whoa. So they asked me for one of the house fierros. Hey, let me get that. Go and I pull all 3 of them out. They're like, what the fuck? Like, this fool's crazy. Like, you walking around with 3 fierros? Here. And I gave them the other house one, like, here. You know what I mean? I just, boom, keep the other one. Go back. I go back. I'm sitting down. Same thing, you know? I'm just chilling. The homie Morro comes again. We're chopping it up. I'm telling him, like, hey, fool, like, whoa. He's like, hey, I'm speaking up for you. Like, I got at the homie D. I ain't even gonna say no more names, but he's like, I got at the homie D, and he's kind of hearing you out, like, whoa, whoa, right? So I'm talking to Morro, and at that time, I had moved the homie Tricky with me. I had forgot about that. I had moved the homie Tricky with me from Vista Homeboys from San Diego. He was only in that building for like 2-3 days. I had moved him with me for the same reason. Like, I was like, man, I need some backup, you know what I mean? Like, new faces are starting to come in. Like, I was just like, man, hey, Kyle. So I end up moving them with me. I'm right there chilling. I'm watching TV. Chilling, watching TV. Then next thing you know, right, I look down and that fool said, like, hey, homie, like, Santo, Kyle. What's up? He's like, hey, Kyle, bro, like, we're gonna go across the hall and we're gonna chop it up. Like, all of us need to come. So I'm walking down, right? We're going through its A section, B section, and C section. But the doors were locked, so we had to go around. Because I believe they were doing like out call for you, for night yard. There was some reason that they had locked the door. So he's in front of me, it's him, and it's my bunkie. Boom. As we're turning, homeboy just turns around and just boom. As soon as he cracks me, throws my shirt over. Boom, start getting. I ain't gonna lie, man. I didn't even have time to react. They just boop, 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 got me. Boom, drop. They come, boom, 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 start hitting us with batons. They didn't even spray. They just started cracking people with batons. So as that's happening, just right there, like fuck, like just trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. Boom, end up handcuffing us, take us, and as I'm going out, I see the homie Morro right there. You know what I mean? He's right there looking just hot, like throwing up a waist, like. So that's why I wanted to give us a shout out to the homie Morro, because at the end of the day, that's an enemy on the streets. He didn't have to give me no heads up. He didn't have to even give me his own fierro, and he did that out of his quota. So that's the only reason I'm mentioning that. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear anybody in the comments talking about, oh, saying names, this and that, you know? So, boom. They end up jumping me. I end up going out, go to medical. At that time, I end up having I had like a gash like in my eye. I know I had a black eye and like a gash. So boom, they go, clean that up. who that comes, starts asking me questions, you know what I mean? And to be honest, they were like, hey, it's a power struggle, huh? It's a power struggle. I'm like, man, no comment, like straight up. Because they had moved on the homie Chango from Northside Bowling like a couple of days before that, like 2 days before that. And then now this happens to me. They were thinking like, oh, you're on his side, you're mad because that happened to him and that's why they're doing that to you, you know? But I was just like, man, no comment. Signed the chrono, trying to go back, and I ended up going to F yard. And you guys already know what happened. My first day at yard on F yard, they ended up coming and asking me for a favor to go on the holiday, and I didn't even hesitate. Within them asking me, 5 minutes later, I was already boop, bow, 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 yard down, getting sprayed, going right back to the hole, lacing up the homie Zach the barber. Salute the homie Zach the barber, you know what I mean? But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. I just wanted to share this story right here. And for any of people having any doubts and stuff like that, the reason why all that happened, homeboy was trying to cover his ass. He was trying to use that chain to pay off one of his debts and pretty much just try to throw it off on me. He probably thought that if that happened and then them jumping on me, because he took off on me himself, you know what I'm saying, to cover it up, he took off on me himself. So I wouldn't have the chance to go talk to the homies and say my piece that, hey homie, I was on the phone when all this happened, I didn't even know any of this, never even held that. At the end of the day, the homie Chango from Northside Bowling was my boy. I wouldn't do him like that. So I ended up going to F yard. The homie Chango from Northside Bowling ended up speaking up for me, like, this the homie right here, like what the fuck, like he wouldn't do no shit like that type. And a couple other people that I knew from other prisons and stuff like that, they spoke up for me. And salute to the homie Güero from Loonies, you know what I mean? Shout out Hater World. His homeboy is actually, when I first got there, he's the one that I talked to. And to be honest, he heard me out. And he's the one that was like, hey, yeah, don't trip, we gonna fix it. And he took the time to talk to all these people and then make that phone call and let them know what happened so that I could be cleared of that. You know what I'm saying? So anybody else in my shoes, I guarantee you, man, they wouldn't have walked out to yard no more, man. They would have hung up their chanclas, hung up their gloves, however you want to call it. They would have locked it up the minute that they hit the back. I stayed solid, hit the yard, cleaned it up, told my story. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to hear no bullshit. It's stuff that happens behind them walls. Sometimes it's whoever has the better mouthpiece or whoever knows the more people. Like in this situation right here, they didn't even ask me. Homeboy has so much of a good mouthpiece and people were so intimidated by him that they didn't even ask me what happened. And then homeboy manipulated my bunkie to go with him. Man, but like I said, man, the truth shall always prevail. Just stay solid, hold it down, and better yet, don't go to prison. Don't do anything that's gonna land you behind them walls, cause let's be real, man, behind them walls, that shit's for the birds. You're gonna lose people, loved ones. You're gonna, not only that, it requires a lot of money to actually eat good because the state food is garbage. So if you struggling out here, you know your family struggling out here, don't do that to them, don't do that to yourself. Worry about your family, your health, worry about your money. And at the end of the day, man, chase your dreams, because look at me, man, I'm chasing mine. Not so long ago, I was behind them walls, didn't even know what I was gonna do when I got out. Now I'm at 50K subscribers, getting paid to do something I love, which is sharing my story, man, and lacing you youngsters up. You know what I'm saying? They don't get no better than that. So I appreciate you guys watching, man. Unity, prosperity, and respect. Above all, it's your boy Santo G, man. With that being said, we out.